Okay, I'm kind of an old dog here. I I thought I'd try something new. Writing about chapter highlights is it's kind of cumbersome, and I just thought I might try to make a few videos to highlight some of the important parts of the different chapters, and we'll see how that goes. You all can look at them if you want or not, but I'm sitting here in the CSU library, 9 o'clock on a Monday night. There's literally no one here because it's the very beginning of summer classes. Campus is pretty empty. Anyway, I'm talking about the readings for these first 2 weeks, and I'm going to start backwards, if you don't mind, with Chapter 5, Global Perspective of Occupational Therapy. There's a lot in this chapter that's really interesting. I just want to point your attention to page 41, the importance of cultural understanding of clients in occupational therapy. There's some important things said under culture, and I just want to read, for example, it says, culture is a pattern of behavior and includes thoughts, communications, actions, customs, beliefs, values, institutions of racial, ethnic, religious, or social groups. And so, as an OT, if you're planning a treatment session and it involves cooking or even self-care and dressing, you actually need to know something about the culture of the person you're working with, so you don't make a lot of assumptions that we would make as people living in the United States. This goes on to say, although the groups, racial, ethnic, religious, or social, to which the person belongs may define behavioral and occupational expectations, individuals may behave outside of established norms. So, we know ourselves. Some of us may not be considered diverse, but we are individuals. And so even if we start to get a feel for someone's cultural background and norms and expectations, we still have to leave room for how people are different individually. I came across a really interesting part on page 43, and in general, this chapter isn't just for people that want to belong to the World Federation of OT. It's for anyone working with people that are of a different background. But on page 43, there's information about a study done by the University of Illinois at Chicago. And I thought this was really interesting. Just quickly, it says, Elliott examined reflections from students who participated in a short-term international immersion experience. Elliott found that many students reported a desire to do good. The desire to do good for others without understanding their culture, he says, is a Western culture attitude. More affluent cultures helping out those that are less fortunate. And you wouldn't necessarily think about that, but it made me think about an article that's by Van Nikert, and I just put it in the week 1-2 modules. It's at the very bottom. I want you to look up the word Ubuntu, Ubuntu, and see what that study on participatory action research says about working with these African cultures who looked at entrepreneurial endeavors so differently than the people doing the research. Okay, so that's all I want to say for this chapter 5, except for one other thing. On page 44, there's a section on interprofessional education. And I find in this course we make a lot of statements about what OT is and how important OT is, and you can start to get the feeling for OT is everything for everybody. and they do it on their own, it's hard to have an interprofessional perspective when you only think about OT and the great contribution that it makes. Lots of times, the only time we ever mention anything about another profession is PT, and it's generally to say how limited PT is compared to what OT does. So we want to back off from that thought. We do want to notice differences in OT and PT, but not to the point of belittling any other profession. Okay, I'll close off for chapter 5.